I don't really want to live like I'm beyond you. I don't really have a choice in who you're fond to. I know that you love when...
What's up, guys? It's Pastor Jordan. Today will probably be one of my shortest videos ever. But I want to react to the Chris Long Films tweets, the new ones about Juice and his death and the new information, right? Everybody's made a video about it, but I kind of want to talk about it because I think this channel, it has a different perspective and a different viewpoint and a different stance on all of this compared to any other channel, just because of the way that we've gone about the reactions this whole time anyways, right? And so before I get started with all that, I just want to let you guys know the podcast has been doing really well. If you haven't heard the podcast yet, make sure you go check it out. It's called the Talk Deep Podcast. It's on Apple, it's on Spotify, it's on Amazon and Google, it's on everything. And if you want to be on the podcast, let me know. Send me a message on Instagram. Tell me what you would talk about and why. And then make sure you check out my Patreon if you're an artist. I have $10 reactions. I still have 2 spots left for $10 reactions. If you hop in there, you can get on it. And I also have the $5 shout outs for my videos. You'll see it in the video. It's a little record that pops up with a customized message. And if you want that for $5 a month in every single reaction video, it's, I mean, less than $1 a video, and I get 100,000 views a month, so I think it's definitely worth it. I want to be able to give back to you guys, and that's how I'm going to do it. Anyways, first tweet, he said he wanted to make some things clear, and he said, "Jay did not swallow a bunch of pills because the police were at the airport. We gave no F's about them being there. He could have flushed them down the toilet if he cared." So he's saying he didn't really swallow. That's the thing with so many deaths of popular artists. People always find like an excuse, or always find like something that it was because somebody laced his pills, or it was because somebody did this, or it was because of this or that. Honestly, I don't care about that stuff. I never have, and you'll see that on this channel. Like from the very beginning of me reacting to Juice WRLD, I never really gave that idea much weight, anyways, as far as how I talked about Juice, because I never really took that, like, I took that with a grain of salt, and it's clear in my videos, and I talk about it. I say, you know, whether or not it was an accident, overdoses are always accidental because you're just trying to get high, right? You're trying to get as high as you can get while your body's still able to handle it. And the thing is, when you're high, you're always chasing that first high. You're always trying to get as high as you did the first time. You're always trying to get like just as lit, and your mind and your body create they get used to it. And so the more you get high, the harder it is to get high, and so the more you get high, the more that you have to take. And so Juice was on this path where he was addicted to drugs, and he was trying to get clean, or wanted to be clean, but was addicted and couldn't stop and continued to take the drugs. And what that does is, the longer you take drugs, the more you end up having to take to get that same kind of high. That's why people overdose. It's not because nobody ever does drugs and does so much the very first time that they overdose. That's so rare. What happens is people get addicted and they continue to use more and more and more to continue to feel that same kind of high. And while your body is used to it, while your body is getting used to it, you know, it has that tolerance, your organs aren't. Your organs don't get used to it. You know, your liver, your heart can only handle so much, and so you get to this point where it's incredibly dangerous for you to take those drugs. And that's the point that he was at. You know, I don't think he cared either. And anybody in their right mind who is a solid drug user knows why would you swallow them? Because you know that would kill you. You know it would. At that point, that's suicide. That's not a mistake. You know, you don't swallow all those pills and just hope that it doesn't work this time compared to all the other times you've gotten high. You know these things. You know how much is too much, especially somebody who uses it every single day like Juice WRLD used it. And so I always found that to be like just a weird thing. I always think it's weird. I think people try so hard to like discredit the way that somebody died, or to make it something that it's not. Everybody wants to say that this artist died because their pills were laced, or this person died because of this. I don't get into all that stuff, right? And I say that when you take drugs on a regular basis and you're addicted, you are living a lifestyle that is incredibly dangerous. And so you put yourself at risk of so much that it's not even funny. And so it doesn't matter if it was, you know, whatever reasons, he was already living the lifestyle that he knew would lead to an untimely death. And so he says, Jay was hooked bad. The amount he took daily was absurd. He hid how much he really took from mostly everyone. Everyone around him tried really hard to get him to slow down, and when he agreed to rehab, it was because he wanted to lower his tolerance. He didn't want to stop. I don't know about that completely. Just because listening to his music, you understand that he paints addiction in such a negative light, right? I feel like there are two sides of a coin to addiction. There is a side that wants to be clean, and there is a side that would look at rehab as like, dang, when I get out, that high is going to be so good. And it's not that you just go to rehab to do that, but what happens is you think that, you know? Anybody who's addicted to drugs, anybody who's done that would know. I was talking to somebody the other day, and they said, yeah, if I were to go do drugs now, it would spiral me. It would be like taking drugs for the first time again. And that's true. And so an addict's brain will think that, but that doesn't mean that's the only reason they want to go to rehab. I cannot listen to Juice WRLD songs and believe that. And I think that he paints such a clear picture of that. I feel like that's, you know, I feel like he's making a point here, saying that he didn't just want to go to rehab to get clean. He was also, you know, he knew it would lower his tolerance and he'd be able to get high more and have better highs. You know, anybody with an addict brain is going to think that, but I don't think that that's the only thing that you think. I think that that's absurd. I think that Juice WRLD talked about how bad drugs were for him so often that it made it so clear that he hated it. This is a man who would not tell somebody's mom that she shouldn't go to school, or that she should skip school. You know, he wanted his fans to live positive lifestyles, and he realized that. He realized that the lifestyle he was living was negative, and he talked about it. He said he knew he was going to die. He knew it was going to kill him. And he tried to stop, but he couldn't. That's addiction. That's how it works. And, you know, he may have wanted to go to rehab for real. I believe that. I don't think that somebody brings up rehab and just wants to go to lower your tolerance. You don't do that, because an addict doesn't think that way. An addict doesn't think, all right, let me stop for the next 38 days, the next 3 months, however long, the next 90 days, so that when I do it again, it's going to be so good. No, an addict does not think that way. An addict does not withhold, you know, drugs from themselves so that it'll be better later. I've never ever met an addict who does that, so I just think that that's kind of silly. I do think though that if he was thinking about rehab, the thought would come up, that temptation would come up, that man, when I come out, it's going to be like doing drugs all over again. But I've never met an addict who chooses to go sober just so that it's better when they get on drugs again. I think that's stupid. Jay was supposed to go to rehab that month. You guys have already told me that. We already knew that. We tried so hard to do positive things every day, like ride dirt bikes or paintball, to keep busy and not do pills. But every night, once he hit the studio, that was it. He loved it. I don't know, man. Part of him, you know, that's the thing with an addiction brain. He loved it, but then he gets on the track and talks about how bad it is. So you tell me, really, you know, how much you know. But I think that's how it works. I don't know. I feel like this is painting a bad picture of him, because the music tells something different. And obviously, somebody who's there in person is going to know so much more, right? Anybody can be anything that they want on a song, but who are you in real life is the real question. But I feel like his music was a doorway into his heart, into his mind, and he talks about it, you know, being that. And drugs are not painted in a positive light. I don't think he loved them. I think he had an incredibly toxic relationship with his sobriety and with his drug abuse. You know, he hated drugs and loved them at the same time. He wanted to do them because he was afraid that if he got sober, he wouldn't be able to rap well, and because he was afraid of what he was going to have to deal with if he did get sober. But he also hated them because he knew that they were killing them, and he knew that it just wasn't the right lifestyle. It wasn't the lifestyle that he wanted to live. So I feel like it's just a double-sided coin. I feel like this is painting one side of the picture, but it's very clear that it's two different sides. And then he says, I never thought he would OD. I was always scared of getting bad press pills, so I got test strips. I tested every batch he got, but no one knew how much he really took because he was hiding it. Once, Max and I really started counting how much he had and how fast he went through them. And so, honestly, I don't know how big of a deal it is for pills to be laced. I don't think it's a huge deal. I don't think it happens as often as people say. I think people die from overdoses. People die from, abusing drugs, and then everybody wants to say, oh, it was laced, oh, the label killed him, oh, no, dude, it's not as, if it was, you're telling me that families with millions of dollars from what their, you know, their kids have made them, or from what their husbands have made, or boyfriends, you're telling me that those people have not sued the labels, or gotten lawyers, or gotten private investigators to look into that? They have. Or if they really felt that they needed to, they would have. So I feel like that's cap. I feel like a lot of, like, I feel like when fans just do that, it's because they don't know how to deal with the actual, like, reality of it. But the reality is, he was addicted to drugs. He was abusing drugs. And even though his tolerance was high, your organ level tolerance does not get higher. Your organ level tolerance goes lower, because the more you destroy your liver, the more you destroy your kidneys, the more you destroy all of your organs, the less tolerance they have for that kind of stuff. It happens in every kind of aspect of life. You have artists who do that. You have, you know, the Hollywood scene who does that. You have the athletic scene. You have football players who take horse tranquilizer pills because that's the only thing that they like to numb their pain, because they just destroy their bodies. Your organs are not made to handle that much medication, but people do it because, you know, your body has a high tolerance, so you have to take more and more and more, but you're destroying your organs. It's gonna kill you. And he knew that. He talked about it. What in the one song. So in Lean With Me, he says effed up liver and some bad kidneys. So he knew that even though his tolerance was high, it was destroying his organs. And that's how you die. I think people die that way more than just laced pills or bad pills. I think that that's silly. I think that that's like somebody who's just super overly paranoid, but I get it. You know, some people think that way, but ODing, overdosing is really what you have to worry about. And he said, I miss him so much every day. I miss having someone to talk to that understood me and cared. I miss goofing off. I miss filming him freestyling for me because he knew I loved it. I miss making him a Red Baron pizza at 3:30 a.m. and he liked it burned AF. And then it says, damn, I even miss rolling his blunts. And, you know, I'm not going to sit here and judge Chris Long or anybody else. I'm not going to judge anybody. Because the thing is, when you're around somebody who's addicted, it's incredibly complicated, the way that you have to go about that and go about trying to help them. And at the end of the day, they're still their own person. They make their own decisions. And you can try your hardest to stop them. You can do everything you can to not enable them. If they still want the drugs, they're going to get them. They will get them no matter what. You can, short of locking them in a room and never letting them out, they're going to get the drugs if they want them. Who was it? The Duck family. The Duck Dynasty family. One of the sons, he got like super addicted to drugs, and they literally like locked him in the house, did not let him leave for like 3 months. Like he didn't leave the house once, and he got sober. But like, short of doing something like that, if somebody really wants the drugs, they will go get them. So you can sit there and you can do your best to stop them. You can, you know, do everything you want, but if they want the drugs, they'll get them. So I'm not going to sit here and judge him, but I do think that, you know, it's not all correct. He says, I never did pills like that, but maybe occasionally take a half. They always scared me. I'd slip sometimes for sure. Now I want to take perks and sip and get effed up as possible to feel like those times when actually I did do it with him. I feel like that's stupid, obviously. But, you know, I'm not in his situation. And obviously, you know, if you miss somebody, there's better ways to feel close to them than to just follow them down a road that they never wanted to be on to begin with, you know? That's not the way you honor Juice WRLD, because Juice WRLD didn't like that anyways. If Juice WRLD loved drugs and he was happy to die to drugs and he was just cool with that, and you want to feel close to him, by all means. But if Juice WRLD is the dude who sat there and just has always painted drugs in such a negative light and has helped people choose to stay away from drugs, if you say that you're going to honor him by taking perks and getting lean and getting effed up so that you can feel close to him, that's not a friend to me. I think that's not somebody who honors his death. And like I said, you know, this doesn't change my opinion on Juice WRLD, because I thought all this to begin with. I knew that that's why he died. I knew that he died because the addiction was too strong for him. I knew that he died because he chose to live that lifestyle until he couldn't stop living that lifestyle, even when he wanted to not live that lifestyle. That's what addiction does. I don't buy into all this lace pills and everything else. And I'm telling you, addicts are not stupid just because they're addicted. Addicts are some of the smartest people ever, and that's why, because they're escaping their own brain, because their brain runs 1,000 miles a minute. They're smart people. So you have somebody like Juice WRLD who can rap and freestyle like that. There's so much going on in this head, dude. And that's why people like that become addicted, because they're just, it's too much. It's too much. And so he gets high all the time and he ends up getting addicted, but that doesn't make him stupid. So you tell me how he was going to be dumb enough to swallow all those pills thinking that he was going to be fine when the cops were there. I never bought that to begin with. But I've been around addicts my entire life, so I understand how their minds operate. And then he says, I had to watch little bro die at my feet. I had to look in his eyes while he was dying, and I could not do anything about it. This is another reason why I think you can't like, judge any of them. You know, they were all friends, they were all close, and so, you know, it wasn't, you're that age, you party. That's what most people do. And I've always seen it as harmful, but that's because I saw the effects in other people's lives around me. But you know, you can sit there and tell them all day long, you should have tried harder to get him clean. They know that. If they could have done more, they know that they could have done more, and they think about it all the time. You know, nobody needs to tell them. You're not going to tell them anything that they haven't already told themselves. That's what you have to remember. But you also didn't sit there and watch him die, you know, and know that this is probably it. That's incredibly sad and incredibly, incredibly traumatic. He says he had nothing to worry about. He knew the cops were there before we landed. We put that strap in my bag. It was all good. I had a clean record and I'm a registered owner. I had no problem taking that charge. Well, did he know that, first of all? But at the same time, like, I think that just supports the what I've always said is that, you know, I don't believe in all the lace stuff. I don't believe in the hiding from the cops. This is this dude's making millions, you know. You make $1 million off one concert. People do it. And you're gonna tell me that he was worried about the cops? I don't think so. Over some pills? I don't think so. And he says that man treated me better than any other human on earth, just on a personal level. He cared about me just like all his friends. It was so genuine and pure. And I can't stop thinking about him over and over again there on the ground, and I was just looking in his eyes. That's how I had to say bye to him. It just burned into my brain. I had to watch Allie holding him, screaming, losing the love of her life right in her arms. He says it's just so hard to function sometimes. This has ruined me completely. It's ruined jobs, relationships. I don't think I'll ever feel normal again. And that's why I say you can't just sit there and tell them something that they haven't told themselves before. You know, these people probably need counseling. These people probably need help. When somebody dies like that, there's no closure. There's no way to just cope with that, right? When your grandma dies, your grandpa dies, and they're old. It's not that it can't be unexpected, but they're old. It's gonna happen at some point. There's closure there. They lived their life. Somebody like this who dies so abruptly from something so crazy, that's harder to deal with because they're just taken. It's incredibly hard to cope with, and so those people need patience. They need grace. They need, you know, other people to come around them so that they don't end up in the same place. Because this dude's sitting here wanting to die. This dude's sitting here wanting to not be alive. This dude's sitting here wanting to follow the same path that Juice WRLD followed. And so many of you guys do the same thing when you're in a bad place. You tell me, oh, I'm addicted to perks. I'm addicted to Xannies. I'm addicted to lean. I'm addicted to whatever. And I talk to you guys, and you're doing the same thing. You're self-medicating for problems that you really just need to face and need to get help for. And now he's doing it. And we can sit here and talk about how he's wrong for this or what he should have done, but how long till he's gone, you know? And maybe that's not what he's going to do, but understand the example. You have to choose to be positive. You have to choose to be helpful to people around you. You know, you don't put people down. You lift them up. You offer them advice. You offer them help. You offer them support so that they can change and grow. I thought this video was going to be short. It's obviously not. I'm super sorry. This is what I think about these things. I don't agree with everything, but I understand where he's coming from for sure. And super awesome. I've really wanted to talk about this. I know you guys have wanted me to talk about it. I know that, you know, it's kind of new news, so it needed to be talked about, but I don't think it changes anything for our channel or anything that we've said. I don't think I should take anything back as far as what I've said in the past, because I think it all lines up with that narrative anyways, that Juice WRLD was addicted to drugs, and that, you know, he was in his headspace wanting to be clean, wanting to get out of that life, but couldn't. And you know, that doesn't make him a bum, it doesn't make him a druggie. He was a person, and he needed love and support and help, and that's what we should offer to the people who are around us still, before we lose them. But that's all I have to say. Make sure you stay tuned. There's going to be more videos out soon. The song in the intro is one of my new songs that might come out soon. I'm not sure. But that's it. I'll see you guys in the next video.
Day, pouring, screaming, make way. Make room in your life. I'll be your Potiphar's wife. I'll ease your pain and your strife. I'll be your reason to lie, so you can eat with your eyes. Make love with me in your mind. I've been looking for you. I just wanted to help you. I know you're struggling right now. It's been a while since I felt you. I know just the thing to ease the strain, that it overwhelm you. Just forget about your problems with the way that I touch you. I know you think about it. You open pictures.